Rebbe brings down a very well-known story that there was one of the students of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who was a very big tzaddik, a very, very righteous person, and he was so distressed about the destruction of the temple that he said the prayer that we say on Tisha B'Av every single day. It's called Nachem. Every single day he would say that prayer, and you can imagine he didn't just say the prayer like I do. He said it with a lot of feeling and crying, etc., because he really felt the pain of the destruction, of the lack of the temple. And it came the day of Lag Baomer, and he said it also. And the story goes how Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was very upset with him. This is Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai from after he passed away, and it was very, very a difficult period as a result for this student, because Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said, as great as it is to mourn the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, I want you to be happy on my day, on Lag Baomer. I have to tell you that I merited, even when I was a child. I went to Miron. I saw Miron before it was very commercialized. I saw Miron when you had to walk up a mountain to get there. I saw Miron where there were a lot of people, Sephardic, beautiful, wonderful people. They literally slaughtered, goats and made barbecues, and they slept there for a few days. It was an amazing scene. And Rabbi Schlanger mentioned something very beautiful about the Biana Rebbe. And he mentioned in passing how today he looked at a video of the Biana Rebbe lighting a bonfire. Let me tell you what's behind that story that maybe even Rabbi Schlanger doesn't know. The Biana Rebbe comes from a dynasty who's called the Holy Ruzhin, Rabbi Yisrael of Ruzhin. He's a great-grandson. And there is it's brought down in the writings of the Kabbalists, the Arizal, the Orach Chaim HaKadosh, that on the day of Lag Baomer, one of the ways to celebrate, they would light bonfires. This is a mini bonfire. They would light bonfires. And I'm not really sure how it happened, but in Miron, one year, they auctioned off the right to light the main bonfire for perpetuity, for eternity. And that auction was purchased by the holy Rabbi Yisrael of Ruzhin. Rabbi Yisrael of Ruzhin was an extremely, extremely special Hasidic Rebbe. I could talk for hours about him. He was a very holy man. He acted like a king. He had a chariot with horses, but himself, they say a story just to give you a glimpse of who he was. They say that he walked around with golden shoes, but one time it was winter. It was winter, and his courtyard was full of snow. So he went from his courtyard to the other house, and they noticed that on the snow there was blood, because under his golden shoes, that everybody thought he was wearing golden shoes, they had no soles. So in other words, this was a way to serve God with malchus, with kingship, with royalty. This was the holy Ruzhiner. This Biana Rebbe that Rabbi Schlanger saw today light the hadlaka, light the main bonfire, is a direct descendant of this Ruzhiner Rebbe. So even the holy Ruzhiner bought the rights of the hadlaka, 150 years ago, 130 years ago, and it's still till today. It's only done by his descendants. And I'm going to tell you a story that nobody knows. It's a Lag Baomer miracle, and that is around 40 years ago. My wife and I were in Miron for Lag Baomer, and it's a special time, and we prayed over there for things that we needed. And again, 40 years ago, even though it was packed, but it's nothing like today, it was much less. So we were there. I think we stayed in Tzfat, which is a very close to Miron. And if I'm not mistaken, I think we were there for Shabbat. And Saturday night was Lag Baomer. So right after Shabbat, I think I had a car. I rented a car. So we went up to Miran, and today it's very hard. But in those days, even though it was full, you were able to still go there. And since we were relatively early, before everybody else came up from Jerusalem and Bnei Brak and everywhere else, we were already there. We were already in Miran Saturday night, Lag Baomer, and it was very pleasant because there wasn't many people and we were able to dance, etc., etc. But of course, we're waiting for the hadlaka, for the bonfire. Everybody knows, everybody saw a picture. There's like on top of the cave where Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, there's a kippah, a blue dome, and right next to that dome is where then the main hadlaka was. Today I think it's somewhere else because simply there's too many people. This was a smaller place, let's say literally around the size of this, and everybody crowded around. I was standing I had a great place because I got there early. I was standing on the roof right next to this dome and right overlooking the place where the bonfire would be. And everybody's waiting and waiting and waiting, but it's Saturday night and Shabbos finished, let's say, an hour ago or an hour and a half ago. People need to come from Tel Aviv, from Bnei Brak, from Jerusalem. They weren't coming so quickly. So there was this wonderful, non-religious Israeli police officer who was in charge of making sure that everything is going to be okay with the bonfire. And I guess he was impatient, and he was holding this huge, not stick, this huge, what do you call it? Torch, but with a long stick, right? A long stick. And he's getting impatient. Everybody's waiting and waiting and waiting, and they're not lighting it. So he turns to me, and he says, "Ata Rav, are you a rabbi?" I go, "Yeah." He says, "Tadlik, light the bonfire." And I look at him, and I said to myself, I don't think I should do this. And I did not know at the time this whole story that I told you, that this was a purchase by the originator, purchased by the Biyaner. I promise you, Bli Neder, had I done it, had I actually lived, I don't think I would be sitting here today. So that's a Lag Baomer miracle that happened to me. And because of that, I'm here. So maybe every Lag Baomer is also my real birthday. Anyways, so let me just conclude because we need to hear Rabbi Schlanger, who's a dear, dear friend of ours, and in Mirz Hashem, we should all people should go down to Bakersfield and support him, and if you can't go down to Bakersfield, support him. Send your credit card to Bakersfield to support him, whatever it is. But he's a special neshama. He's a real special neshama. He's not telling you who he is. He goes to prisons. He's a very special young man, and he's not really. There's not many, believe it or not. I don't know how many kosher pizza shops there are in Bakersfield, and I'm not sure how many Hasidim there are in Bakersfield. But he's there because the Rebbe sent him there, and because the Rebbe is the Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai of this generation, and he's bringing their light. So let me just conclude with a very well-known story that kind of brings us to the point of what we're all here today. Everybody knows the story that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai had to run away from the Romans, and him and his son, Rabbi Eliezer, went to the cave, and they were there for 12 years, and they in order to preserve their clothing, or they didn't have clothing, they were in mud for the whole time, and they ate carob because there was a carob tree, and they spent the whole time studying the Zohar, and they made the Zohar, and they reached incredible spiritual heights. That was mamish, was simply incredible. And the story goes, the Gemara says that after 12 years, they got the message that the Romans aren't looking for them anymore, so they went out of the cave. So they were on such a spiritual high, they were on such a spiritual level. The Hasidus, the Alter Rebbe says that they didn't even have to eat matzah or hear shofar because everything was spiritual for them. Everything that they did were able to do through the Spirit. So they see somebody working, and they said to themselves, "Working? Why aren't you sitting and learning? Why aren't you learning Torah? What are you doing? What are you doing plowing a field and taking care of cows in Bakersfield? Why are you doing this?" And unfortunately the Rabbi Eliezer, who was the son of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, looked at these people, and the look killed them. And the Gemara says that Rabbi Eliezer's look killed them, and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai had to look and bring them back alive again. So a voice came from heaven and said, I didn't bring you out of the cave that you should do this. So I think you guys need to go back to the cave for another year. So they went back to the cave because they had to realize that God wants people to not to live in this world, live like Jews. So at the 13th year, they came out of the cave, and the Gemara says something very, very beautiful. That Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai saw a simple Jew. It was Erev Shabbos, Friday afternoon, and he's carrying 2 myrtle branches, 2 hadassim, 2 myrtle branches. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai asked him, why 2? Why do you have 2 myrtle branches? And the simple Jew looked at him and he said, I thought you're a rabbi. One is for Zachor, and one is for Shamor, meaning the 2 ways that the Torah describes Shabbat. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was so overwhelmed by the simplicity of this Jew that he wanted to honor the Shabbos, honor the Shabbat with 2 myrtle branches, that he realized that this is what God wants. That God wants us to bring the heaven down to earth, like the Rebbe wants in all of his shluchim, sends them out to all these faraway places where there's no spirituality, to bring points of light. So in the honor of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, we should all realize that we should take upon ourselves to do one more mitzvah, one more material mitzvah, whether it's putting on tefillin, lighting Shabbat candles, keeping kosher, wearing tzitzis, going to the mikveh. One thing in honor of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and this will enlighten you, enliven you, and bring you joy and happiness. Thank you. Good Yom Tov.
Yom Tov.